Welcome to Toffee TV. We needed really at the start. Marcus Bentley, like Day 15 of the Everton Manager shirt. It is the Everton latest, which,
isn't it?
You know, it is what it is at the moment. During big calm, Ped's back from a jaunt at the Valley yesterday. Trials for Charlton Athletic.
You know what? It was between me and Jason Yule.
Was it?
And I think I might have
just edged them.
I might have just edged them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
out.
what it was for.
Good
but
Jason.
Me and Jason Yule, we were smashing it.
Fair play. Ped, you weren't here yesterday, so what have you made? Because obviously,
amazing.
Yeah,
not being here.
Because there's been some development.
Has there been development?
Well, according to basically PR people in the press doing other people's
What's
PR.
Paul Joyce said?
He said Rafa Benitez.
And where did he say it?
In an article in the Times.
Oh, sneaky devil.
Yeah, he didn't tweet it.
No,
didn't tweet it. He put it in. And basically he said that Nuno, I nearly said Nuno Valente.
I wish it was Nuno Valente. I wish it was.
I nearly said that then, yeah. Nuno Espirito Santo was expecting a contract offer last week from Everton and never got it. So they feel interest cooled, which we was kind of saying Monday.
To be fair to Everton though, they did start the building work. They can't do both.
Yeah,
they can't do both.
Don't multitask.
No.
And then obviously what he said was Rafa Benitez is back under consideration. Then Rafa's other people in the press are trying to sell him. Gaultier said Everton looked at Gaultier, but that's off the table now.
Because he's going to Lyon.
He's going to Nice.
Oh, Nice, sorry, yeah. The press would absolutely love Rafa Benitez to be our manager.
They would.
They would love it. It would create
so
many stories on both sides. Yeah. He could run for days and months with the fallout of him from the Everton fans, from the Liverpool fans, from everything.
Well, that Newcastle fans who still think he might go back there. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on Rafa Benitez?
People probably remember I wanted Rafa Benitez the last time
Silva went,
before Carlo got put in.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest, I'm not one of these people who's genuinely asked about what he said or who he is and what he does. He actually ticks a lot of the boxes. But what I would say is 18 months down the line, we are in a slightly different position. At that point, we were in the bottom four, weren't we? And it was like, get us out of that and start building. It doesn't have to be pretty. So I'm really non-fussed because I'm not really fussed about anyone. I'm really past them. Fixtures came out today, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently we're playing everyone twice.
Yeah.
Do you know? But that's literally how I feel about Everton at the moment. I'm just, and if he used to become the manager, I'd just go, he's the manager. Because honest to God, I honestly just don't feel anything about any of them. It's the worst. Yeah. It's honestly the worst list since. I won't even say it. I won't even say
it. My view on it, on Benitez, is I'm a bit like you. I'm kind of what he said was when was it 2009 or something, 10, whenever he said it, whatever it was. I'm not really that thingy about it. It's done. It is what it is. It is what it is, and we took Sam Allardyce. So, but my thing with it is just the foot he plays.
Yeah, and
that's for me. You know, if he was like a bit more of an attacking manager, I'd just be like, all right. Because I said yesterday, I'd have Brendan Rodgers, and he's an ex-Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Ex-Liverpool manager and stuff. So I would have Brendan Rodgers and go, right, at least we know what we're going to do. So it isn't the Liverpool connection for me. It is what it is. It's the style of football that he plays.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it has something to do with it because I think he's only ever 2 or 3 defeats away from people turning against him, and that's exactly what we don't need at Everton at the moment. We don't need a manager who's going to come in and within a couple of defeats, everyone's going to be, Agent Benitez and all this and all that sort of stuff. We really need a manager that's going to come in and galvanise the squad and the club and get everybody together. But you're right, it's not just the Liverpool connection. You could look past it if he was at the top of his game, if he was winning things, if he was competing in the top leagues in the world.
Here if that was the case?
Well, probably not. But that's what I'm saying. He went to China. He got more defeats than wins in China while he was over there. He done all right at Newcastle for what they expect, but it's not for what Everton expect. The last time he was successful,
what do Everton expect though, Cam? Because this is something that is starting to. It honestly, like I know what you expect because you're 21, 22. I don't know what Ned expects. He's 20. What we expect but what we've been given are completely two different things. So I honestly don't know what people expect anymore. I don't know. I said this the other day, and I make no apologies about this. We are turning into Newcastle fans. We are. What we used to mock them for 10 years ago, about them thinking they're a big club and thinking they have a God-given right, it's gone. And I think it's gone for us. And I'm not putting this in relation to Rafa Benitez, right? But at some point, we've got to start cutting our cloth accordingly to get to a point where we can start expecting things. And I know we've had a few chats, and the name Graham Potter keeps on popping up. And I know that's not exciting for some people. And they've just bought a really good centre forward today, I believe. But what someone like that would help you to do is rebuild and start build up with a purpose. So this idea of our expectations, I don't know what they are anymore.
No, I agree. But in terms of Rafa, I mean, he's not. I just don't think he just doesn't. He gives me no motivation. He gives me no excitement. That, like you said, the football he plays isn't that great. He's not like a successful manager at the moment. Like if it was Brendan Rodgers, you'd say just won an FA Cup and come 5th 2 seasons on the bounce, challenging for the Champions League. He's not at that level. He hasn't been at that level for 8, 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. So he's not for me. He's not for me. I think the Liverpool connection, as much as I'm not particularly that bothered about what he said 10 years ago, and if he was at the height of his game, I'd go, don't worry about
15 years
He's
ago?
the best. 15 years ago,
15, 16 years ago now.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Does it really matter?
It's more, but it doesn't. But I do think that it would be used against him if we lost 2 games on. If we go into the start of the season and it is on us.
That's on us as a fan base then.
But if we turn, it's very hard to turn back, isn't it?
But what are we?
Us personally.
No,
I
I agree with everything you just said there, Cam. But what are we turning on? Are we turning on the idea that what I don't get is, right, I understand the rivalry between Everton and Liverpool, fantastic, great rivalry. It's what keeps a lot of people going. But unfortunately, at times though, it hinders us. Yeah. It gets in the way. And what makes me laugh is, you look at like Italy and how managers just go round the houses. Yeah. There's no stigma. No one ever goes. No one ever goes, you can't manage us because you managed Inter Milan, or you can't play for us because you played for Inter Milan and we're Milan. And it's like, what are you talking? They just like, we have this pot of quality, and if you're not willing to use that person to be a manager or player, we'll use it. And I'm not saying Benitez is amazing, but if Klopp come available today, right, and he said, I want to come to be Everton's manager, would Everton fans go, no?
Loads would.
I wouldn't.
But he's at that level in this game where he's winning. He's just won a Champions League and a Premier League.
No, but there is. You've got it. There is.
You're right though. People will go. And Brendan Rodgers. People are going no for Brendan Rodgers. Now I know that's a different thing than what you've just said, which is a fair point. Going, I don't like his style of football. I don't like.
That's the problem for me. And that's football. It's not really. It's not really.
I have no problem with that. I just don't understand this thing.
But people have told me I'm wrong for the style of football. People have gone, well, forget about the style of football, just let's win games. Okay, but that's all right, but we've just had that.
That was what I was going to say. That's what
we've just had it, and it wasn't enjoyable. And personally, I want a little bit of both. Do you know what I mean? And
some of our, like, you think about players, some of our really, really great players have come. Kevin Sheedy, it's one of our greatest ever players, came from Liverpool. Peter Beardsley was amazing for 2 years. Gary Ablett was in the team that won the cup final, and was a really steady player.
Important.
These players have come over the park, and have done well for us. And if it happened that it was him, then honestly, the idea just because he was a Liverpool manager and he said something, so what? Who cares? Life's too short.
Do you think it is just about that?
For some people, yeah.
And it is for some.
And I think they need to get their heads out their own asses.
I think people won't hide from that, but I think some of it is also because of the negative football. Some will be because, like Cam just said, it's now 6 years since he's done anything meaningful.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
But I guess for him, if you were playing devil's advocate with him, he might say, yeah, but it's 6 years since I've had any chance of doing anything because I've had no resources at Newcastle, because I know he spent a bit of money, it wasn't loads, although they did bring Joe Linton in. And then obviously he went off to China, where China's China, isn't it? You can say he lost more there than he won, but that is what it is. But I can't get. And you're right. Even looking at the list and getting excited about anyone,
there's not one name on there except Galtier that you look at and go, or even Conte today. But
what I find worrying more than anything is the 2 names. I know this is only something that's popped up in the last 24 hours, but Nuno has been consistent, and now him popping up, and they've got the same thing in common. They haven't got a club. Yeah. They don't have to buy anyone out of a contract. It's an easy thing to do. You just go and speak to him, do you want the job? Yeah, and we'll have a look.
Well, that was part of the rumours that come out on Friday night, wasn't it? A lot of journalists were saying that the reason Nuno was such an attractive option for Everton was because of his availability. And if you're looking at a manager and going, you're the best for the job because you're not currently in a job, that's not the way of looking for things. Did Real Madrid do that with Carlo Ancelotti?
I've just watched a thing from a couple of years ago with Brighton, with their director of football.
Yeah, on Sky.
7
yeah,
minutes.
I've seen it, yeah.
And Dan Ashworth, was it?
Yeah,
Dan
it is.
Talking about the director of football role, and because he'd just done it. It's from 2 years ago, so he'd only just gone in there. But talking about how you've got to have a vision, and he's like, you can't have, and he's obviously just speaking about general football. He's like, can't have a situation in a club where you change the manager he said the average lifespan of a manager in the Premier League now is 14 months. And he was like, and Everton's is worse than that, I think. You can't keep changing, because you've got to have one ethos that runs through the club, otherwise you have to change 16, 17, 18 players every 14 months. He went out, you can't build anything like that. So he was talking about Brighton and going, well, what we've done is we've got this, the chairman knows what he wants, we do this, we've got Graham Potter in, and they were like, yeah, but what if it goes wrong? And he was like, but the players are there, so we bring an extra one. He said, but if it goes right, Graham Potter will move anyway. Onto something better, and then we'll get the next fella in. Whereas at Everton,
I keep on consistently saying this.
But even looking at the list, Pet, you go and Eddie Howe, who plays football one way.
And is out of a job.
Graham, what I mean is the style. Graham Potter plays football one way. Then Rafa Benitez plays football totally different. Yeah. So does Nuno, Espirito, Santo. Then people are going, well, get Conte. Conte's there, and they're there. Now, the big thing throughout this might be that Everton have kept everything really close to the chest, and we're being directed by media reports and stuff, and it looks like it's an erratic managerial search. But
it looks like that. Hopefully it's not that.
I hope that's what it is, but I'm not convinced. So,
well, people like Joyce are generally quite reliable journalists, and what they say usually comes from what they've heard and is to be believed. But even Paul Joyce said on Friday that it was Nuno, it was going to be Nuno, the contact this, that and the other, and then, you know, a couple of days later it's Benitez. So who knows what the club are feeding these journalists or what's being fed to them by other people. It might be that the club have got their cards close and saying just throw off a cent, you know, that way in regards to another name, just to sort of take the attention away from it for a second. But
is there any chance he's the you know, when you see like groups of people go out and like mates go out with like, say, you know, the duff, what it's called, known, and I think there any chance he's been put out to make Nuno look more attractive, because they're seeing that theory bounce around, so people will go, oh God, I'd rather have Nuno, and then it swings back.
What a pathetic state of affairs we're in, if that's the truth.
It is worrying.
Who would you rather have, Ped? Nuno or Benitez?
No, I couldn't care less, mate. No, Cam, honestly.
Could you not vote either way?
I couldn't care less, honestly. No. I'm so uninspired. I have serious worries about this football club. I think it's a shit show. I really do. Apart from the stadium, it's a mess. It's a mess. I've been saying it for 12 months. It's a mess. The club is a mess. No matter what people want to believe. How can you have a list that consists of, as Baz just said, 5 different managers have all got different ethoses?
Yeah.
How does that work? How have we got other clubs? And I remember Andy telling me months ago that a club he works with, who've got a very good manager who's being touted, not touted around, but touted being a big thing, have already got a list for who's going to replace him, because they know, like Baz just said there, managers will leave your club one way or another.
Yeah.
Right? I've said this for weeks. Whether you sack them or whether they move on, they will move on. Like every player and every manager will move on. Yeah. You've got to have a plan. This club is a joke, I think. Yeah. Brands, I haven't got a clue what he does or what he's supposed to be doing. I think he's sorting the academy out, and I think he's done a good job of that. But
it's not
I honestly haven't got a clue.
What if he's going, this is what we should be doing, and Farah they're going,
well then it's a joke then. Well then that's a joke. Farah, do us a favour, go away and speak to Jim White. Yeah. Go and watch Cenk Tosun playing Monaco or something. Go and do something that is unrelated to the guy. Or sack Marcel Brands and don't have a director of footballing.
Do it yourself,
and do it yourself. And let all your super agent mates run the club for us. Because
that's how it feels.
Because the way it's getting done at the moment feels just so... Everything is just like... Everything, like every decision just seems like... See if it sticks. Yeah. And that's... You can't win a football. And you somewhat think clubs like Brighton... are running away from us. Not in terms of the league table, but organisation. Because what they're going is, how do we make the most of what we've got? And how do we bring in the next set of players? Well, Brighton have looked at it and gone, well, what we need, we've got everything. What are we needing? Centre forward. Just bid 25 million for a Bundesliga centre forward today. We're scratching our asses looking for a manager when we should be bringing in players ourselves.
Yeah.
And that worries me. That really worries me, because that can only mean one thing. That means your club is doomed.
Yeah.
Doomed
No
to
one's got a clue.
doomed because you're making snap decisions.
You're trying to lucky, aren't you? You're just looking for a lucky hit.
Yeah.
Like a boxer without any game plan, just open that. You throw a dig and it catches him right, and you're knocking him out. Where your opponents are training and I've got a game plan. And honestly, I listened to that 7 minutes it was, and I was just like
Inspired.
Oh, I was just thinking. I was terrified, because I was thinking, oh my God, this is a football club that I've only been in the Premier League for a few years. It took them years to get back. We stayed up with Chris Hughton a couple of years on the run. You know, got them safe. They didn't want that. They wanted better football, so they got rid of Chris Hughton and went, no, we want this fella who plays good football. As well as that, they've planned their academy. They've planned the recruitment. Yeah. Everything is done on a plan. Now, I'm not saying people throw Leicester at you and Aston Villa and go, look at the way they do. Yeah, they are. They're doing the same thing. Yeah. But Everton, because we don't hear anything either. You don't hear anything from Everton one way or... Marcel Brands only ever speaks to the Dutch newspapers, so you never know.
People on trains.
Or people in train stations. You don't hear anything from Everton, so you wouldn't have a clue what Everton's plans are or aren't, but just we're having to just look at what the evidence is in front of us, and sometimes a lot of the stuff's going on below the water and you only see the tip. But if no one tells you the stuff going on below the water, then you can only see what's in front of you. And Everton, we've said it a million times, whether it's over a manager getting stick and the club don't defend them, whether it's over a stadium that's making, even though ironically they have been quite good with the stadium and stuff, right? For me, they still aren't directing the narrative.
No, it's too
whereas
sad.
Teams like Brighton are doing it now in terms of getting that stuff out, and we should be planning and going, you know, if this fella doesn't work, how can we save these players? Because otherwise, if we say it was Benitez and he come in, and in 18 months' time, the chairman's not happy again, or the owner rather, the owner's not happy. But Benitez has brought in a couple of 30-year-olds and all that, the same what we just had with Ancelotti. We're going to be sat here in 18 months going,
same place.
We've got these players we can't get any money for.
Yep.
We've got this. Everton. And again, I hope I'm not romanticising about David Moyes. But when David Moyes was Everton's manager, we didn't have any money really. So a lot of things had to be right. And we knew we were hitting our head against a bit of a glass ceiling because you needed that extra bit of quality that we didn't have. But what's really frustrating now is we've got the resources and we're still wasting those resources. The money is there and we are still pissing it up a wall, as people say, by making stupid choices. Yeah. And that's what annoys me more than anything.
That's spot on. There's no plan. I mean, Ped hit the nail on the head there about teams that have got sort of a list of candidates for managers to come in before their managers even left. And you've seen it with Leicester. They're bringing players in to replace players that are still at the football club and probably will be for the next 18 months to a year, but to 2 years. But they know once that player leaves, they've had this replacement in already. He's already bedded in. He knows the club. He knows the league. I said it last week when we were on. We spoke about that clause in Ancelotti's contract that said if certain clubs come in for him, he can leave. If the club are going to put that in his contract, why aren't they mocking up a list as to state that, okay, if he does go, there's a list of 5 managers. Exactly. Even if them 5 managers change constantly after every single week in the Premier League season, and even if Ancelotti goes, boss this, love it here, I want to stay for the rest of my life, it's dead good, you should continue to have a list to go. There's a clause in that contract that could be triggered at any point, and we need to be prepared for it. But he didn't. He put it in as if to go, oh yeah, he wants it, so we'll give him it, and we won't plan for it. And now he's taken that option, and we're in this situation. Whereas if they'd have had a list already, they could have gone, right, okay, we planned for this, and we have planned for this for the time he's been at the club. So we'll go, there's number 1, there's number 2, there's number 3, there's number 4. Yeah. Even if you let it out to the media and say Everton already had a list prior to Ancelotti's exit because of this clause in his contract, we'd all go, do you know what, there's a bit of organisation there, there's a bit of planning there, they've actually thought ahead as to what could happen, but there's none of that at all.
Well, if you're not told, you'd have to guess yourself, don't you? Because you're not
speculate,
told
don't you?
anything.
I'm terrified by it.
Speculate.
There's far too many cooks at the club. I've said this before. You've got an owner, a director of football, a chief executive, and a chairman.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Especially if they're all having the say. I mean, I don't know whether Denise Barrett-Baxter would be having a say in a manager thing, other than they sit down when they're about to offer it, then you go through and then you vote, I guess. But we know certainly, or we're led to believe certainly, that 3 people are having the say. But it's not actually 3 people, Ped, because it was the thing you mentioned before, which is super agents. We know that they get in Farhad Moshiri's here. We know that it's been reported a million times by people close to them. So if you've got Marcel Brands, who's diligently, if he is, going through a thing, right, and going, right, I've identified, just for argument's sake, Graham Potter, Eddie Howe,
Galtier.
Christophe Galtier and Lucien Favre, for argument's sake. They play this kind of football. I think that's going to get us on the right way. And Moshiri goes, okay, that's all right. Can we get Conte? No, he's just won a league, whatever. And then you've got agents actually going, listen, we can get you Rafa Benitez, or we can get this fella, or we can get... And he starts getting carried away with the excitement of it, or if we get him, we'll be able to get this player. And then he comes back in and then starts going, I want this fella because he's a name, he's Hollywood, it'll put Everton back in the top bracket. When what'll put Everton in the top bracket is all of this work here, the stepping stones. You can't jump.
No.
And if you do, it's built on sand, which means it can collapse at any... Which we've just had with Carlo Ancelotti, like you said, because if that clause was in there, seems to be it was, then they can come calling at any time. And if you're totally unprepared, you get what... I mean, just imagine if this was November.
Yeah.
Then what would have happened? Well, we know what would have happened. They'd have just gone, Dunk, we're not considering you for the job, but go and get us out the crap while we scratch our heads and go, who should we go for now? Because we're not planning. And that to me, was this summer represented the opportunity to reset and to go, right, that's happened to us, we've been bit. Let's see what we get. Liam Floyd says sick of this now. The Premier League fixtures came out this morning and we've got no manager. Jonathan Rickett says can't be Rafa, only needs to lose the derby or 2 games and people will be calling for his head. Nicholas Sadia says any of Conte, Nuno and Rafa as opposed to Eddie Howe or Graham Potter. Jim says I'll be gutted if it's Rafa. James Dunlop says I'm the same as Ped, I'm not even bothered now. This is the problem, isn't it? Is that it goes past the excitement bit.
Disinterested.
I've read loads on different managers and gone, no, oh yeah, I like the sound of that. But you look and go, well, it'll just end up being someone who's the easiest probably.
Yeah. And then we'll be back here in 18 months having the same conversation. Yeah.
Liam Napa says all I want is a few good seasons of Europa League and decent cup runs with the belief of winning one. I mean, that's a big thing, isn't it? You know, people talk about if we're going to win the league, we need this, or we're going to get into the Champions League, we need this manager. We've got to be able to get into the Europa League first, or the conference first.
3 years on the bounce.
Haven't we?
Yeah.
Because we are miles away from winning the league, but if we'd done it right, this is what's annoying. If we did it right, we wouldn't be miles away from getting in the Europa League. No. But you just know that it is like you just said. You're throwing something at a wall now and it sticks and it looks all right.
Yeah. Well, we haven't been a European team since David Moyes, and by that I know we got in it with Roberto Martinez and once with Ronald Koeman, but we weren't a consistent European team. We got in there because we had a decent season, and we fell straight back out as quick as we got in.
We've
never been a consistent European team.
I think we've only been 12 times in the last 50 years.
So we've never really been a consistent, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean,
Cam. 2 years.
There was more of the idea of being a European team, but I don't know, more than anything is, maybe not more than anything, but Moshiri has got the right to do what he wants, right? But you've got to have a track record. Yeah. So I think of Abramovich, right, who highs and fires, but he typically gets it right. Yeah. He typically gets it right. I mean, Chelsea fans are now used to that.
Top managers,
that's what I'm saying. He sacks, he gets top managers, brings them in, there's a response, he normally wins something.
Sacked, does it again.
Well then, yeah, if he does, he does, but it works because he seems to have good people around him.
Got good players as well.
Got good players, and it works. Whereas Moshiri's track record is abysmal.
But can I just say this?
Truly abysmal.
On the back of it, though, they had Emanalo in place for years, and they allowed him to get the players. So you're right. So basically what Abramovich did was go, I'm going to hire coaches then. because this fella, I've give the power to Emanalo behind to buy the players, so we're getting good players in. And you literally then are dropping a coach in and go and coach them players.
Yeah.
We don't seem to be doing that either. We're not
There's
going.
no evidence, is there?
There's no evidence that
be,
Brands is getting any responsibility.
There's no evidence. There's no real evidence, and that's what this summer was supposed to represent. Evidence that Everton were moving forward with a plan, and it just seems to have been thrown against the.
People are saying, well, after all that's been said, Michael Glenn says Moyes must return.
He's not saying, is he?
Because now you'd have to pay him big money.
Sarri's on the odds today.
Just
signing for Lazio last week. Moyes is on there as well, even though he's just signed a new contract with West Ham.
Stephen McConway says, after we agree with Ped, the club has become an absolute mess. We just never seem to learn from our mistakes. Liam Floyd says Ancelotti ran out of ideas and he ran away.
But it doesn't matter. He's gone now. That's not but the point was, it's not about. Surely you would be looking at the end of the season, the owners, and thinking, with one eye thinking, we might have to make a decision here. Yeah. Not saying we will make a decision.
Yeah.
But can we do better? Who's about? Who's about? Yeah. Surely when we said Leicester before, Leicester were like, if we have to sack this fella, there's a good manager up there at Celtic, we could go and get. One eye. If this continues to get worse.
Don't forget I think they were 11th when he sacked Claude Puel, which isn't terrible. No. But it's not good. But they'd only been 9th anyway, so they were only around where they were. But they went. They
sensed an opportunity to get a top manager in, and even didn't he wait for him till the summer? Did he leave?
He was gone, but he left.
Yeah,
he come in.
Well, that's what Chelsea did, didn't he? Last time out, despite all the uproar with Lampard, they seized an opportunity. They sacked him and they brought in and now they're
European champions
winners.
Right, I'll just race through with these. Kevin Neck says, what Ped is feeling, exactly how I'm feeling, fed up. I'm really not asked. For me personally, the only appointment that'd cheer me up is Duncan. Mogster says, give it to Duncan, at least most Evertonians want him to succeed. Carl says, Wolves fan, all I can say is every single player improved a ton under Nuno. I've had a few Wolves fans, to be fair, and I've had a couple of people who know who were Wolves fans, and who one messaged me last night actually and just said Nuno would be perfect for Everton. And he was like, we improved players and all that. He said last season you've got to take with a bit of a pinch of salt because we lost the goals, we had injuries, and he said something along the lines of something went on, something changed at the club. And something has changed at the club. And he said you could see him, he lost a bit of the drive then for it because whatever. But I don't know, listen.
I'd rather him than Rafa Benitez, put it that way.
Well, there you go.
But again, no. Why isn't he the manager then? Why isn't he the manager?
Do you honestly, sorry mate to cut you off, but do you think if Everton would have just gone, because I was away when Ancelotti went and you and Ned were doing it, and I just seen a headline thing and it was like, Nuno to be named in 24, because the press ran with that. If Everton would have just gone on that Friday, Nuno is the new manager, I think a lot of people would have gone.
By now,
all right. Yeah. No, but then, Cam, because it was a couple of days, people would have gone at first. And Ancelotti to him, but then people would have just gone, all right, we've got a manager. Like the club have acted quickly, they've got a manager, and we're moving forward. By now, we'd all be talking about the fixtures and going, I'll tell you what, we can get him. Look, that's not that bad a start.
We'd be looking at players, wouldn't we, for a start?
But here you go. Now, it would seem, if we end up naming him this week, would be like, why didn't you just do this 3 weeks ago? Because, like we say, Everton might... Liam
Who knows what Everton will do? They don't even know either.
Stephen Point. Don't go calm with Liam Osman.
Stephen Poynton says, if Rafa gets the job, I'll be handing him my season ticket. Yardy 1, 2, 3.
Why? Give me a reason why. Don't just put that. I want to know why. Football.
Let us know, Steve, quickly.
Don't just say that. Tell us why you would do that. You've left us with so many questions.
Yardy, get more questions than answers, Steve. Give Big Duncan a chance. He loves the club. Won't accept any other attitude from the players. The thing about it is, I'm just going to say one thing with Duncan, at least Everton would be Duncan's endgame, wouldn't it?
Duncan needs to go.
No, but he will need to.
He needs to go. If he doesn't get it, he needs to go.
He's got to go and get some evidence.
He's got to go and be a manager somewhere for a couple of seasons.
And get some evidence.
18 months will be enough, Dunk.
Yeah.
18 months will be fine,
back in 18 months.
Back in 18 months.
Where are we? Bump of the case says the league is hard to crack for top 4 right now. Needs to get a great project manager. No, but what he's saying, and you know what? He's saying what he's saying is right. That we've just had an anomaly of a season where we could have got in the top 4 if we'd have won a few more games at the end of the season, right? Because it was an open season, wasn't it? But to do it, instead of going, if we get Conte in, we can get top 4 this season. We probably won't, will we, unless it's a miracle. But if you actually went, you know what though, if we start building and we can nick a Europa Conference place, which will still be hard, but it can be done. Because basically 20 wins isn't that hard, and a few draws, you're in it. And then we build, then you put yourself in a couple of years in a position where you go, we've got a chance of getting in that top 4 here, or at least being in the conversation for it. Yeah. If you just keep going, trying to grab people in the hope that you're going to get in, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. Crip says, what's up lads, see our fixture list. I don't even know what to think about us at this point. I don't think anybody can think anything really, can we? Because we're all just going, I don't even know what's going on. You can't look at those fixtures and go, tell you what, look at this and look, because no one's got a clue what we're doing. Yeah. You can do it when you've got a manager and you know what the shape's going to be. You can start going, right, what do we need? But I just think, what I think here with this is, without being disrespectful to him, because he's got a good CV, he's a good manager, and I'll back him if he comes in, like we've said with everyone, but it just doesn't give you any excitement. No. It doesn't give you that galvanising boost you want in pre-season, does it?
No, not at all.
Bump of the case says Nuno is a good coach if you can tolerate horrible football. Scott Dilworth says Nuno is playing games. Toss him, Gaultier, go and get him. I wonder if Everton could go and get Gaultier by just going to Lille. Yeah, we'll give you 7 million. I know you'd only want 5. And we'll give him big. But then again, he's a flip of a coin, isn't he? He could come in and not do it.
He's a risk as well, yeah, of course.
Cyberwick says, Rafa, welcome to Everton. He'll sort it. He's a good manager and got a good CV. Michael Glenn says, Conte rather is very much in the mould of Ancelotti. Stu Bremner said, the thing with Dunk is if we appoint him, then it'll be heartbreaking to get rid of him. Yeah, but that if Dunk come in and got appointed and didn't do it, then he will be got rid of, like every other manager. That's the gamble. And that's the gamble he would have to take. But we don't, like we've said before, we don't even know if he wants it. But what I would say is he's stepped up when he's been asked. He's done it. He's improved players. Whether he could do it, you'll never know. But if he doesn't get it, then maybe, like Pet said, he will have to look at going somewhere else and getting a body of evidence down. So when it comes available again, he can go, look, I actually am a manager and I've done this and you're my dream job.
Of course, yeah. Definitely.
You know, and then people, I think. Bump of the case says Conte ain't going to Everton. Sorry, lads. No, we know. We know. Martin Slinger says, I'm still aboard the Potter train, lids. But that isn't happening, so I'd take Nuno over Rafa. The what?
Goes to Hogwarts, that, doesn't it, the Potter train?
Good, it's a good train. It's really been on that one. Between the two, it's good. Conte in talk, says Kyle Tombleson. Well, that's the rumour at the moment, isn't it? But
there'll be a lot of people in talks, I'd assume. Talks could be, do you want to come to Everton?
No.
You're messing, aren't you, mate? He was in talks.
Yeah, it's true. LJ says if Conte, not possible, get Gerrard in.
No.
Steven Gerrard wouldn't manage Everton. Not at all.
So, can I ask you a question then?
Go on.
You know the way you said before about Benitez and the LFC connection and it not being that much of an issue with Klopp and with Brendan Rodgers, would it come into play with Steven Gerrard?
I don't think he's done enough. I don't think he's had a good enough club.
If he went to Southampton or something, right? Just say for argument's sake, and done all right at Southampton, played good footy, and Everton wanted him and he wanted the job, then you'd have to look past that though, don't you?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's not... It is a tough one. It is a tough one because he's still fresh and we know what he did as a player and all that, but if he was the right man for the job and a good coach, then you've got to, at some stage, like Ped said, you've almost got to grow up and go, you know what, life goes like that.
Yeah. And
every season rolls into the next one. Yeah. And before you know it, it's cutting your nose off to spite your face. Another 3 or 4 years have gone by and your ship sailed. So you need to go, we need to get on it. Now, if he's the best man for the job, get him in.
Yeah.
Because we want to go to a match, watch exciting football and win something. That's what we all want. Otherwise, what are we in footy for?
Yeah, true.
You want to see your team play good football and win a trophy. That's what football's about, winning. It's what it's the whole and Everton have kind of forgot that at the minute. But I'd hope that there's other managers that come to the fore rather than Steven Gerrard. That's what I would say. Daniel, very quick, right, going to do 5 minutes and then we're out. Frank Lampard, yes or no? Should be under consideration? No.
Well, he probably is under consideration, but I don't want him.
All right, I'm just asking you. No. 1878 says, I'm refusing to get off the Potter hype train. Not looking likely, though. Stephen Hogan says, Potter for me. Barry JB says, no red shirt. Michael Terran said, Ferguson should go and manage a championship side like Rooney and get experience. That way, he might. J. Shri Narshi says, I'm a Hammers fan. Why the negativity over Moyes? Because we've had them, haven't we?
Because to be fair, right, if you were looking from...
And he's staying at West Ham.
If you were looking from the outside, he's had one good season in 7 years.
Yeah, that has been said, yeah.
So, yeah. And also, you know, the way he left and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't to everyone's liking.
No, that's right. Adam Brooks says, Duncan can manage brands, can sort the transfer... Duncan can manage, comma, it should be. Brands can sort the transfers, which is what we got him in for, and we could get Howard back as goalkeeping coach, and Cahill or Baines could be the assistant.
But as what you're seeing with the manager situation, with Mashiri trying to stick his nose in a little bit and agents in his ear, this is just going to happen with players as well. If super agents are in his ear saying, I've got this 29-year-old here, won a Champions League 350 years ago, he'll come in, he'll only take 60 grand a week. Is Brand's going to be making all of the transfer decisions? We'd like to think he would be, and he should be, but I couldn't sit here confidently and say he's not got Mashiri in his ear saying, no, go and get this 29-year-old player, because this fella told me he's dead good on the phone. Right.
Joel says, cutting your nose off to spite your face is what we're going to do if we don't appoint Rafa. He lives on Merseyside, he's settled and he wants the job. Rich Nichols says, Moyes better off staying at West Ham. Got them in Europe, doing well. Sol says, Lille are in talks with Patrick Vieira, their new manager. Galtier's the clear option out of a bad bunch. If Everton come calling, I reckon he'll accept. Everton have gone calling, haven't they? But it hasn't happened for whatever reason. Adam says, we need to give the new manager time as well. We can't be speaking about this in 18 months. We will be though, mate, won't we, if we don't make the right decision? That's what we're saying. Like the last couple, Cyberwick says, I can forgive Rafa. Kieran Brownbill says, no notification, you two let me down there, like the video blues they put in the graft. Well, we're going over onto the Footy Show channel while we have the match on, so you can carry this on over there if you want, but we're going to get Ped a drink. He hasn't had one, and all of that. It's all good. Like last couple, Robert F says, if it came down to Conte or Rafa, who are you choosing?
Oh, Conte every day.
Conte.
Yeah. Full out.
It ain't gonna come down to Conte or Rafa though, is it? Let's be honest.
Eugene says Everton need to give the job to ex-Real Madrid managers Zinedine Zidane. What about Zizou?
No.
Okay. And Rich Nichols says, should Daniel Farke be under consideration, or do you think he needs to have a good season and keep Norwich?
Not a chance on earth.
I think he needs to go and have a good season with Norwich, really, and see that he's learned from last time when he was still trying to play football and he was conceding goals. If he sorts that out, then you know that he's starting to learn. Because otherwise, he just becomes people like Eddie Howe and Martinez, Nico Kovac.
Can he be on the list then? If he becomes those names.
Oh, God, yeah, definitely. So yeah, there you go. Right, get over to the Footy Show channel. The link is in the description if you want to carry this on and have a match on in the background. We're going to have a break, just very quickly, get a drink and stuff and move around because it's 873 degrees, is it?
74, I think.
How much? 74. 874. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. Get over to the Footy Show channel, subscribe. See you later.